In this video I'll be talking about an AI art challenge. This was something that was set by Mistbind, and I uploaded recently an art challenge that she set using similar software. I've always tried to engage with her challenges because they are interesting and they push you to do something that you otherwise wouldn't have. This time there was, I believe, 3 aspects. Complicated, cursed, necklace. That was the 3 things. Complicated, cursed, necklace. And I had sourced an image of a model wearing a necklace that I used for the start of the image and then built up the little trinkets around the necklace, and I considered what could be considered cursed. I did a quick Google on cursed images and that was interesting, but I didn't use any reference. Instead, I decided to incorporate things that you would associate with some kind of cursed horror story type of charms, I suppose, because they had to be fairly small. Now, I did the drawing ink first. That's usually what I do, but it was fairly light. So what you're seeing is me picking through the different layers of a finish. So to box off the frame and the proportions, and then to build it up more and more. Sometimes the level of hatching it's something which I really have to wrestle with. Do I really push a shadow side of the face, or do I try to be subtle with the hatching? And it's something I'm still learning. I'm still playing with and finding out where I succeed and where I fail. I don't know whether that will be something which ever goes away. But the challenge was generated using AI software, but the image itself was drawn on paper by me. Now, Mistbind herself did her own image, and that was digital. She's a digital artist. But because I haven't asked her for permission, instead I'll just give a link for her Instagram in the description of this video so that you can look it up yourself. And she and I have done similar images before. We interpret challenges fairly similar sometimes. On this occasion, she used her signature monk character in order to create a complicated necklace. And I just sourced images where I thought it married up with what I was picturing in my head. Although for those of you who are aware of this channel from a while ago, you'll know that due to having aphantasia, when I say picture, I meant conceptually as opposed to actually imagine and project an image that I could see. For those of you who don't know, I have aphantasia, which means that I can't actually visually picture things in my imagination. I always thought I could until I came across the phenomenon of aphantasia, which I discussed in a podcast a few years ago. Now, this image was a lot of fun. I had to push through to another heightened point, because at some points you want to stop. Well, I certainly want to stop, and I feel as though I've done enough and I don't want to ruin what I have. But then I realised that if I don't emphasise certain aspects of the drawing, then those will not pop out. Those will sink, I should say. I need certain things to pop out and to be more 3D than other aspects. Because I didn't do a background and it was just a figure floating in a white space, I need certain things to be exaggerated to a certain extent, and that would be certain shadow areas, certain elements of 3D objects. So the necklace itself had to have a certain amount of dimension to it so that you could engage with some of the shapes and suspend your disbelief in its form. Otherwise, everything just sinks. There was a point where the hair wasn't quite given the body that I needed it to be. As much as it's pulled back and worn up, it still needed to have more consideration to the form. I found the challenge wasn't the figure, it was trying to make something which looked kind of thematic. I wanted it to work in a world where this necklace could transform the portrait and not look out of place and not look too shifted into a horror genre, but to have a suggestion of kind of darkness or the occult. Other objects that I worked out onto the necklace were just geometric shapes that I tried to make more intricate, just elongate certain aspects and just put additions into there because I wanted it to look uncomfortable and inorganic in certain areas, and then where there were flesh or some kind of organic, formally alive materials, I wanted that to be hatched or just rendered differently. It's what made this have a bit more character, in my view. Now, I've never used AI software to finish my drawing or to actually do the drawing, and I know that's quite popular. There is someone who I was speaking to recently who I was hoping to interview, but unfortunately he wasn't available as a guest, and instead we've just made the connection of a friendship on Instagram. I very much respect their work and I don't think I can pester them anymore. I've messaged and made my pitch twice, and they're now following me on Instagram, which is a nice gesture on their behalf. So I can't push any longer, but I would have loved to have had the conversation with them about their work, because they use AI as a final stage of rendering, and really well. So that's a different aspect of AI art that I can't really elaborate on without someone more experienced than I am. But I do have something in mind. It's not quite AI, but I'll be introducing it at some point in the next few months. So look forward to that. I hope you enjoyed the video.